Hi, I'm Consuelo Cruz with the Office of Culture and Creative Services for the City of Kansas City, Missouri, and we're here at the KC Jazz and Heritage Festival with the legendary Chick Corea. Chick, thank you so much for taking time to answer a few questions.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you are on tour with at least 4 different musicians, musical groups right now around the world. What keeps you coming back to Kansas City?
Well, I get invited. It's the best way to come to Kansas City.
Yes.
You know, I can't just say, well, I want to go to Kansas City and do a gig. But I think this is the first year of this festival, right?
Yes.
The opening year,
yes.
and we were invited. In fact, this is not really a tour that I'm doing this weekend. It's just this concert, and then tomorrow we're going to Jacksonville for another show. But that's it, just 2 shows on the weekend.
Okay.
But I wanted to come and participate. Kansas City being the home of Charlie Parker.
Yes. Your fellow National Endowment for the Arts jazz master, Candido Camero, was here last year and he performed and said that the first time that he was in Kansas City was in 1953 when he played with Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. Are there any early moments in your career that are connected to Kansas City that...
Only the history, the jazz history of Kansas City is what sticks out in my mind, of course, with Count Basie and Charlie Parker. When I first got to New York City, right after high school in 1959, I was immersed in the Byrds music, and one of the first friends that I made in New York was a guy named Pete Yellen, who played the alto, who was also immersed in Byrds music. And so I spent the formative years in the early '60s really studying Charlie Parker, and then later on when I got older, I started appreciating Count Basie and Duke Ellington and the music that came before, you know. But Kansas City's the home of a lot of that.
We're glad that you've been here several times, and I understand that your dad was a trumpet.
Yeah.
He's a musician. Would you say he was your first music teacher?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, my dad Armando Corea, he had a band, different versions of bands all through the 20s and the 30s actually, into the 40s. During the Depression also he had bands, and they worked all the time. They played dances and did all kind of events mostly around the Boston area. But he introduced me to, you know, he showed me how to read music, and then we started playing together, and I would play with him. And he loved Miles and he loved Byrds, so he had a really good collection of 78 RPM, and I cut my teeth on that.
So is he the person that introduced you to the piano?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, yeah, he musically, but my mother is the one that bought the piano and said we want a piano for our boy. And this was when I was 4 years old. So she went to a funeral of a friend of a friend, and there was this upright piano sitting there, and she made a deal, $45, and she bought the piano and got lifted up into my 3rd floor apartment in Chelsea, and that's how I began.
History. Is there? When did you start composing? At what age?
It wasn't until I was sort of midway into high school. I did a lot of transcription and copying of players that I liked before I started actually writing my own music. Like I transcribed a lot of Horace Silver's music, and then Bud Powell's music, and Thelonious Monk's music. Then I started writing my own tunes when I was in 10th grade. I guess 14 or 15.
And you have collaborated with countless musicians, and you've done so many different styles of jazz and so many different styles of music. What do you think is uncharted territory for you? Who would you love to collaborate with that you've not done? Is there any type of music that you haven't played that you'd like to?
I have a love for larger ensembles, and I have some experience writing for and playing with chamber orchestras and symphony orchestras, and it's exciting to do. And I especially like to write for a larger ensemble. So I've done it a bit, but that's something that I'd like to do more of. And then if I could organize it, another thing I would like to do is choose certain musician friends that whose playing I really adore, and be able to write write large kind of jazz concertos for them to feature them with band and orchestra and that kind of thing, like Kenny Garrett or Wallace Roney, write a concerto for them. I just saw my friend John Schofield write a concerto for John and orchestra, and that's something that hasn't been done that much, which is using larger ensembles with jazz musicians performing, but not just playing completely written music, like having some mix of the composer's platform and idea, along with open spaces for improvisation to merge really nicely with the written music. That's a passion of mine.
Goodness. Well, hopefully you'll come back one day and play and have all of those pieces at the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts and at the American Jazz
all right,
Museum.
okay.
What do you think? I mean, right now we're at the Jazz Festival, and there's so many different types of jazz that are being played. What do you see as the future for jazz?
Oh, I'm no fortune teller. Future is in all our hands. We're all a group on this planet. We create together. I think it's not so important what the form of the music takes. It's more important that we raise the morality of our society so that we can begin to trust one another more and more and more. More love exchanged, and that creates the environment for art to flourish. And so whichever way the music or the art forms take, that's not important. The importance is inviting more and more people able to participate, to create, to participate in the arts. That's my dream for the future.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your dream for the future and
Yeah.
for sharing a little history of how you got started with the piano.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Okay, Consuelo. Nice talking to
Nice
you.
talking
Good luck
to you
with the
too.
festival.
Thank you.
Marcus Gilmore on drums. There's Carlitos Del Puerto on the bass.